We will call to order the regular monthly meeting to the City of Helotes Planning and Zoning Commission. It's January 5th. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
7:01 PM. Ask the Commission Secretary to call the roll, please.
Sandra Essridge,
Here.
Joe Edmond. Here. Ron Haza, Greg Michelle,
Here.
Mike McLaughlin,
Here.
Richard Hawk, Jeff Wade,
Here.
Juliet Sheridan.
Are you here?
I am.
Thank you.
He might get it someday.
Excellent. City Administrator Rick Schroeder and Councilman Alex Blue as well are in the building, in the room. Our first item before us this evening is citizens to be heard, and there are none. So we can move to the minutes from the December 1 meeting, which you should have found in your materials, in your packet. If there are any corrections or edits or changes that you would like to call to our attention, this would be the time to do so. Again, would like to thank everyone, particularly Ron Haza, for putting these minutes together, given last month's meeting was particularly complicated with the sign discussion and the proposal or recommendation from this body. So, having said that, this will be the time for a motion or corrections.
Mr. Chairman, I have read the minutes and I recommend approval as presented.
Great. Second, Mike, thank you. All in favor of approving the minutes from the December 1, 2015 meeting as presented, please signal aye.
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 Opposed? Minutes are approved. And I am penless tonight. Is that a pen? Is that a pen? Okay, our only item of business this evening is number 5 on our agenda, and that is discussion and action on a request for amendment of a previously approved creative sign application by B Daddy's Barbecue for wall signage pursuant to Code of Ordinances, Chapter 98, Section 72G, Old Town Helotes Special District Sign Regulations, property located at 14436 East Bandera Road. And I should point out as we get started here with this that, first off, you found on the dais the item for approval of signage for this location for previous business that dates back to 2014, which is why you have it. And as a reminder, this item was before us in, I believe, November of 2015 with an initial proposal that we considered. So having said that, Rick, did you wish to present this or comment on this in any way?
No,
Okay.
I don't have any comments.
Great. And we have representatives here if we have any questions for you. And in fact, to be clear, the November meeting, we had approved a sign that looks different from what we were presented with this evening. As you remember, there was discussion about placement of different logos and names and where they go on the building and so forth. So I think what I would like to do is I would like to ask you if you would mind just briefly address us in terms of making sure everybody's clear on what changed and so forth.
Sure. We did just what y'all said.
Come on up to the mic and just put your name on the record and business address for us.
Tony Cook with AAA Signs, representing B Daddy's.
And the business address is, for you guys,
14436 is Bandera Road.
okay.
We did what the council recommended. We put the sign in the middle, so it looked a lot better. And we put the signs on the monument. And now they would like to put another sign on the Bandera Road sign on the wall, which you have pictures for, I assume.
And so to be clear, and make sure I didn't misstate, the sign that you're looking at is on the Bandera Road, as opposed to Old Bandera Road side of the building.
This side.
We,
Bandera Road side, correct.
the main highway side, however you want to call it. We had already approved the signage on the front side. This is for the back side, and this is a non-illuminated sign, right?
Correct.
Okay. Right. And this is before us, because it's Old Town regulations, we have greater leeway in terms of considering a creative sign the form to regulations for other part of the city, because it's an old town, we have more flexibility. Okay. Are there any questions for the representative here tonight, Mr. Cook?
I just had one, and it's probably just how y'all put it on there, but it is gonna be centered, right?
Yes, it's right in the
Because it's
center of
not
the
on the-
building.
okay.
Oh, I guess my drawing's a little off.
That's
It's
okay,
not-
you're, wherever you put it, it will. And I
The middle.
just wondered.
I just now noticed that too.
Can I just clarify, it'll be centered and within the wood, or it will stick above?
It will stand above.
Half,
Will stand above, okay.
like at the diameter, half, probably, or,
Probably a little less than half sticking
Okay.
above.
Remember that this is a creative sign application. And so as creatives point out, the standing above the top of the building normally would not be permitted, but as a creative, we have the ability to approve that, or if the council prefers to recommend that that not be approved and that it be lowered, for example. That's certainly within council's, commission's purview.
Well, their plans down the road is, and this is secondhand knowledge, he says House of Blooms will be taking down their letters, and in the future, they're probably gonna try to do channel letters also, and then take the seller sign down. But that is in the future, and nothing is in writing or
If I may ask, what are the dimensions of this sign?
6 foot by 6 foot, which is,
6 foot by 6 foot,
which is the maximum allowed.
6 foot tall, 6 foot wide.
And when you mean channel letters separated?
Channel letters like, they're like, do you have this one?
The picture, it's like the picture.
Like the House of Blooms channel letters on a raceway.
Can I ask a question? So on the front side, I guess on Old Helotes, or Old Bandera, did you just have House of Blooms and that in the center and then nothing on this side? Or what did it end up looking like? Just wondering.
I think they took down, I know they took down the one sign on the right, and I
Okay.
think it's just the House of Blooms sign in theirs in the middle.
And yours is centered at the top?
At the very, yeah, dead center, yes.
Okay.
Does this drawing predict on that sign being above the roof of the building?
Yes.
Because of the size of the sign?
Because of the size, yes. And the space allowed.
And is this sign still there?
No, that was not,
Never
that was,
put it-
it was never put up because the commission and council elected to have them put up the Flower Blooms Bakery on both sides of the monument sign that are
Okay.
out there.
Very good.
But they took that down and then put B Daddy's Barbecue on both sides.
Oh, and then the House of Blooms isn't on there.
So the House of Blooms is no longer on the monument sign, B Daddy's is on both sides. And then on the front of the building facing Old Bandera Road, you've got what y'all approved in the middle of the building, and that's it. Well, there is some additional House of Blooms that remain. You have Florist that remained.
Yes, they took down the other one. I didn't take that down, they took it down.
But the flourish remains.
Yes.
Other questions?
Is the other one that was put on the old Bandera Road sign also 6 foot by 6 foot?
No, it's 4 by 4, and it does not stick above the monument
Oh, okay.
of the stone.
The rationale for the larger sign here is,
Well, it's so far from the highway. I mean, he just felt like he's not really getting much visibility out of that 4 by 4 sign, which if you drive down the road, that's really small. It doesn't really draw your attention. So, I mean, it's a business. He's trying to get as much
Of course.
attention to it.
though there is also a monument sign right on Bandera Road,
Yes.
so folks should know that, take that into account. And you also mentioned, just to be clear on this, that the possibility of the House of Blooms lettering being removed here. If that were to be the case, I assume, Rick, that another application, creative application, would have to come before the commission if they wish to replace it with lettering for this business.
Yes. Now, if they opted to keep the, if y'all approve the sign as presented here, they could remove the House of Blooms but keep what was approved tonight or by council. But if they want to redo anything beyond that, they would have to go back through the creative sign review process.
Right.
Well, I believe that the new one would be bigger than the square footage allowed, so we would have to, go that way too, because this really can only be about, 10 feet or so long. So if they're gonna put channel letters over there, they're gonna be longer like House of Blooms is.
Is your plan, if you remove the House of Blooms, to lower the
There,
sign?
there are no plans at this point, and this is all secondhand knowledge of what he told me, that they're gonna take him down to 6 months, but I can't say any certainty on any of that.
But it would be appropriate to move your sign down where it would fit in that space then.
I think what he's saying, Chairman or Commissioner, is that if House of Blooms does remove their sign, they would opt to lower that sign and create an even bigger sign, yes.
That's what I'm asking.
Well, actually keep it closer to the size House of Blooms has, which is bigger than, is the 10-foot allowed.
They'd want channel letters, correct?
Yes, yes. Channel letters on a raceway,
Right.
just like what House of Blooms has. Probably more colorful.
All right. Other comments, questions, or a motion to discuss? Thanks.
So it says action on, but you mentioned it going to council also?
Yes, this will go to council next Thursday.
So it
It's
would
a
just be
recommendation
for us
item.
to recommend?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I do have one more question.
Sure.
Do you know what the maximum height would be for it to be within the roof there? So it wouldn't stick above it?
Can you
Like 4
please,
foot by 4 foot?
can you
or-
please come up to the podium?
I'm not sure, but it would be so small, it would probably wouldn't even be worth it for them to do it. There's not a lot of space there. I think it's about 3 feet or 3.5 feet, I believe, from memory. That's all it was, space was up there.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
I move to recommend approval on the request for the amendment of a previously approved creative sign application by B Daddy's Barbecue for wall signage pursuant to Code of Ordinances, Chapter 98, Section 98-2, Paragraph G, Old Town Helotes Special District sign regulations on property located at 14436 East Bandera Road, Helotes, Texas 78023, more particularly described as CB 4524 P-2A, ABS 645.
I'll second that.
Under the second. Discussion of the motion, Mike?
I have nothing.
Sandra? I would add, just for the record, my only concern is we are at 3 signs right now and counting for this business, and the possibility of a 4th. We need to be aware of that. Within the Old Town, again, this is permitted, and there's no problem here, but at some point, we want to think closely about the amount of signage that we're providing for one business. Normally, when it's outside of Old Town, it's typically 2 total signs, one on each pedestrian way, so want to be mindful of that. I think it's an attractive sign, I don't have any problem with this, but
Can I ask one more question?
let's be, mindful of that.
So when you're talking about adding the channel, if House of Bloom comes down, you're saying have the circle plus something below it?
At this point, I can't say with
Possibly.
any certainty on any of that,
Okay.
but it would,
So let's
We'll
not
go
let
with
that,
what y'all-
let's not let that influence this, because we're actually
No,
talking
I'm
about.
not, but just because of your comment, I wanted to clarify that.
right.
Okay.
I don't even know why I brought that up really, because nothing's for sure.
Okay.
The motion is simply about, the action is simply about what's presented
I
here.
would assume if he did the channel letters, he probably wouldn't need the other sign.
Okay, I just was wondering because of that comment. Okay, thank you.
The motion is to recommend approval of an amendment to the previously approved creative sign application by B Daddy's Barbecue for wall signage pursuant to 9872G, Old Town Helotes Special District Sign Regulations of the Code of Ordinances for property located at 14436 East Bandera Road. All in favor of approval, please signal aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Post.
one opposed. Motion is approved. It will go to city council on, what was the date again, Rick? 14th of January, where council will make the final decision. Who was opposed? Juliet. Okay. Thank you all for being here to answer our questions. Surprisingly, that concludes our agenda for this evening. Hang on 1 second. Let me just wrap this up here. Having no more agenda items, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Mr. Chairman, may I make a motion to adjourn? I'll second.
All in favor of adjourning, signal aye.
Aye.
Stand adjourned at 7:18.
Yes.
I thought we were gonna stay tonight.
You stay.